check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Paranormal Chop Shop, and we got a guest tonight. We're gonna have a good show, and I bet you guys thought Chad was on here, but he's not. He's not. We just used his intro. I know he's watching tonight. So without any further ado, I'm bringing up my co-host Enzo, and
in here we're all Chad Smith.
That's right. I am Chad Smith. I have a shirt that says so. And Enzo,
happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the show.
You're looking festive, buddy. How you doing?
That's it. It's very cold here.
Is it cold? Well, you should come inside. All that snow looks cold. At least you got that tree on. Keep you warm.
Yeah. I'm getting electrocuted, but at least I'm warm.
Well, we're going to be talking about the B21 Raider tonight. And since I don't know much about aircraft, we have to get someone in here that knows all about aircraft. And I got a good one, guys. Jim Goodall is here. We're going to bring him up right now. And I know he can fill us in on any questions we got. The chat room's just getting fired up, but that's okay. There'll be more people in here soon. I'm pretty sure they're probably all over at Jess's channel watching her show. How's it going, Jim?
Hey, going good. Good. Enzo, Merry Christmas to everybody. And whatever else you want to call the season, but sure. I prefer to call it Merry Christmas. So
I agree. Merry Christmas indeed.
It's terrible when you have to be politically correct when you say, when you
start thinking about it. It's like, just throw it out there.
I say Merry Christmas. I say all that stuff still.
Yeah. I mean,
I think, what are we supposed to say? Isn't it Happy Holidays or something?
Happy Holidays is the neutral thing.
Yeah.
You can apply for anything.
Hey, what if you don't want to be neutral? I mean, I'm not a neutral kind of guy.
Oh, Papa Willie didn't show up tonight. He might roll in later, but I'm not for sure. I don't think he will. But Sunsaver, how's it going? I'm sorry, Jim. I was just saying hi to people in chat. Cass is here. What's up, Cass? Oh, Troy. What's up, buddy?
I love weed live, Sonny. Okay.
Oh, Troy's show is awesome, Jim. His show is awesome, dude. It's so fun.
Jim just he's in the right place now.
I was
there the season.
That's right. Just spark one up, Jim. I'm gonna smoke a bowl here too. You see that? Cheers, Troy. That's Oh, Cass is saying hi.
All right. What's up, Cass?
Well, hello to everybody.
Yeah, I got them all in there. There's starting to be people rolling in here now, but that's because Jess is still going. I had no idea she was going to be going this late.
What?
But that's all right. We'll roll for a while. She might even jump in here after her show. You never know, guys.
Never can tell.
Yeah. Have you ever met Jess Rogie, Jim?
I don't believe I have.
I think you've been on. She's interviewed you before. I was
going to say you might have been on.
I've interviewed her, but I've never met her in person.
Oh, okay. No, I meant on the show. Well, yeah, she might come in later.
Yeah, I got to meet her in person earlier this year at Contact in the Desert. She lives there, nearby, so she drove up there and we met, chatted. Nice to see her in person.
Thank you, man. Troy was sharing us out, guys.
So, Jim, where would you like to start tonight?
Yeah.
Maybe catch up on your latest adventures?
Probably the most exciting thing, for me at least, is my 29th book. No, come on.
Why did that blur out like that? You're clear and the book's blurry.
No, I had the
Oh,
back.
he edited.
Screen, maybe.
A second.
Yeah, you got your
virtual
background.
background. None. Okay.
There you go.
That is
to
Columbia class. I cover all 227 plus nuclear powered submarines built or under construction for the United States Navy. It's like a memory book as much as anything. It's 352 pages. It is one photo short of 1,300. And the real challenge is doing photo captions for all those. There's about 60,000 words of text in there, but most of it's photo captions. And it's book number 29. Now, someone asked me, I'm actually the gentleman who did the foreword, who's of my newest book, my 29th book. So what are you going to do next? And you go aircraft carriers or whatever. I said, no, I may do a book on the excavation of the lost pyramids of Utsmin-Ka in Belize.
I think there might be more to that story that Jim can tell us about that. But before we get too far, where can folks find your book?
Amazon.com, go in books by James C. Goodall, just like it sounds.
And I just put a link in the chat directly to the book on Amazon, so they can check that out.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Yeah. So, yep. And the gentleman did the forward for me. He's a nuclear engineer. He worked with Rickover. He was there when they fired up the first reactor there at Idaho Falls for the Nautilus. And he said, this is a fun book. It says, and I'm learning stuff. So, I mean, what it does, it gives a brief history of every single submarine has a page, at least one page. And I have at least 3 photos of that submarine. So I can say, and guys will know. I mean, if their submarine's been photographed and they've seen the photograph, they know what it is. And if anybody's been in the submarine service at all, this thing will cover your submarine. Unless you're so old that you were only on diesel boats, but more than likely, if you've been in submarines since the mid-60s, that's a long time ago. It's 60 years. So,
Sunsaver says, I can remember that. Might be a Christmas gift to myself.
Yeah. Now I have I've sent it off to a lot of people. Every submarine commander of a squadron or a group, including the commanders of Submarine Force Pacific and Submarine Force Atlantic, is getting this book, along with the Chief of Naval Operations, Secretary of the Navy's Office of Public Affairs. I've sent it off to Proceedings, and I've sent it off to Undersea Warfare. So I'm going to get, and I went to one of the senior scientists there at Carter Rock there in Maryland, and I sent it to the commander of Bayview, Idaho, the Navy's Area 51. So
I was about to say Idaho, the Navy.
Yeah, I mean it's where they test all the shapes for submarines and even space vessels. The water is very, very calm. It has below 350 feet. It has a constant temperature of 38 degrees, all the way down to bottom, which is 1,100 feet.
Oh wow, that's deep.
And the way they determine hull noise is you have to eliminate propulsion and everything else. And how do you do that? It's highly instrumented, It's probably a 60 or 70 foot shape of, say, a Seawolf or Virginia class submarine, or now the new Columbia class. They will bring it down to 1,100 feet out about a mile apart, are hydrophones going from 1,000 feet all the way up to the surface. And they're all, all directional, so they know where the noises are coming from. Mm-hmm. And they crank this thing down and they let it loose. And the only noise is the noise it makes going through the water. There's no propulsion noise. There's no machinery noise. Wow. There's no noise at all. And that place has been there since the early 50s when they started working on it.
Is there more equipment on those submarines than there is in like the SR-71 or the Raider?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I mean, like, as far as I know they can fit more, but I mean, is there more?
You're looking at on an Ohio boat, or the new Columbia class, for example, the new ballistic missile submarine. You have a 560-foot long, 21,000 tons submerged small city with a whole bunch of nuclear weapons on board. And they'll have
what's the crew complement on that?
I think they went down from 20. Yeah, that's my primary right there.
Yeah, if you guys don't have this one,
yeah,
they're still available on Amazon, Jim. Maybe.
Oh yeah. It's in its fourth or fifth printing.
Yeah, get over there and get you one of these. This is my favorite one so far that I think I've seen.
It's my favorite one too. Go figure. I mean, it's my favorite subject matter. So where I was going. So the Bayview has always had just spooky stuff there as far as submarines go. They had a 10 scale or 12 scale version of the not the Nimitz, but the Zumwalt. The new destroyer, which they only built 3, much like the Seawolf boats. They were supposed to build 27 of them. They built 3. And the only reason the Connecticut and the Jimmy and the Seawolf are operational submarines is they need the supply line open for the Jimmy Carter, which is the spook boat that replaced the Party. But it's still considered a fully mission capable fast attack submarine, even though they wouldn't do it. Yeah. So that that just came.
Do we still have the best submarines, right? If it wasn't us, it would be Russia, I would think.
No, I mean, no, it's only us. The Brits are pretty good. We used on the propulsor that the Virginia class and the Seawolf class have. That was developed by BAE Systems. It's British. It's a British design, and it's really amazing on a regular, say, a Los Angeles class. It takes 7.5 rotations to go 1 knot forward. On the propulsors, it takes something like 2 revolutions to do the same distance. I heard from Science Bob directly. He was on the submarine when he was on USS Hampton, and something went by the sub. They were at 600 or 700 feet. They were doing some tests. And something went by them. They said, in excess of the speed of sound. Now, the speed of sound in the air is about 720 miles an hour. In the water, it's about 3 times that. I mean, it's so much faster underwater. They don't know what it was.
Thought of that. You can break the speed of sound underwater and make the noise?
No, but you got to remember one thing. The most stable substance on Earth that you and I are familiar with is water. To compress water takes over 750,000 tons of pressure. It's almost a million tons to squish it. That's why when water freezes, it expands. It doesn't expand a whole lot, but you do that over 10,000 years and you'll take down mountains.
Yep.
You do it over 100,000 years, a million years, it's even more so. That's why you look at the Appalachians, they're old mountain range. The Nevadas, the Rockies are relatively young. Now here in southern Arizona, we have a lot what we refer to as sky islands. They're not part of any mountain chain, but they usually run north and south. Not always, but majority-wise. And that's where the Catalina's are, and that's where the Rincons are, and the Tucson Mountains, and
it's like leftover glacier stuff, right?
No, they actually pushed up from the valley floor.
Oh, okay, plowed up.
Yeah, because there's sediment that was down near the bottom of where they hit rock, in some of the valleys. And then they've done samplings at the top of these sky islands, and the same soils and stuff that they would determine where it came from. They found it on top of the mountain, as well as with boreholes or cores, coring down to fairly deep levels.
For the submarines, Jim, what's the biggest one that you don't even have to have seen it, just the one you've heard of that exists, but I mean,
the largest submarine ever built is the former Soviet Union and now Russia's Typhoons. They're double hull. They're 72 feet wide. Oh, they're I think 620 some odd feet long. They have a swimming pool in the thing, and it's actually 3 hulls. You have the command section, and then you have everything else on the other sides. But they built 7 of them. They never reached the 7th one, and they've all been put to rest. The only Typhoon that was still operational, I think they just retired. And they were monsters, and but they weren't all that they weren't all effective. Every time I've seen a video or even a still of a launch from a Typhoon, it's surfaced. I don't know if I have the ability to do a submarine launch. My dad was in on that on instrumentation. He'd go out to San Clemente Island back in the 50s when they were doing the original Polaris A1s. And he says water never touches the missile that it comes out. It's in a bubble. He was there. He was there actually watching them being shot out of the mocked up launch. Very effective. But my other the other thing we're going to talk to tonight about is the B21 Raider, which I've supposedly I don't know if I don't think I sent you the Steve Douglas shot with the B2 with 5 trailing edge points, and it's flying next to something with only 3 trailing edge points, which has the same flight.
Was that the U2 or the flyover they did from Palmdale to? I saw a Twitter thing. I've got it. I don't know if it's the exact same.
It was November 2018, and I posted it on Facebook. And I don't know if I could find it.
Jojo Bone knew you were going to come on here today, and he asked me something to ask. Oh, he wanted to know if he told me that the B21 Raider has a problem with moisture and water. It can't get wet. I told him, no, I think that's the B2.
Well, I mean, it's probably both.
Both of them, yeah.
Both of them. I mean, because if they fly through rain, that was valid for the F-117, the F-35, the F-22. That you're going at 600 miles an hour. All of a sudden, you start hitting raindrops. That's like hitting buckshot.
That's what I mean. Like in a submarine, they can put all that technology in there, submerge it in water, and then these $2 million stealth bombers, they can't even fly in the rain.
No, I mean, okay, that is. Yeah, that's the B21 Raider.
Oh, that is badass.
I just assumed because it was a strategic bomber, it would have 4 engines. But looking at the bottom of it, the engine bays appear only to be as big enough for a single engine. So it's a twin engine, fairly far apart, and a single B2 configured bomb bay, where the B2 has 2 bomb bays are side by side. Made this one smaller, probably to give it longer legs, I would imagine. That's one of the problems with the F-22, and that's why the F-22 is going to be headed towards probably just guard units or reserve units, because it doesn't have the legs on a Indo-Pacific type of war, and we're not going to be at odds with Russia. I honestly believe that.
What was that plane escorting it?
It was a F-16.
Was it?
Yeah, it's a chase plane. Anytime something brand new takes off, there's a chase plane, one or more in the air. Sometimes just being a photo chase, others making sure that nothing's falling off.
That thing looks so smooth on the bottom.
Oh yeah. But they can determine where all the radar returns go to. That's what makes the
and you don't see the windows up top either, like the cockpit.
Yeah, you do, but most radar isn't looking at the top of the aircraft. It's looking at it straight on or from way below if it's a search radar for a surface air missile site. The problem with low observables, and that goes to the F-117, which actually has a smaller radar cross section than the B2 or the F-22 or the F-35.
Man, that is so cool.
The thing sticking out looks like a javelin or whatever.
Yeah,
that is a test probe. You'll find them on every airplane that flies for the first time. It goes into it's far enough out in front of the airplane, so the airflow over the airplane is not going to affect the readouts. And see the 4 brown spots underneath the windscreen, and on each side, those are sensors, and that's would determine whether you're pitching up, pitching down, yaw to the right, yaw to the left, and gives your airspeed and everything else. They also there should be some on the top as well.
Without seeing the rest of the wings, that thing just looks like a UFO with wheels.
Well, the first time I saw the F-117, and I was one of the first non-DoD guys to see it and photograph it, with John Andrews from Testers. And we're out there at the fence line at Tonopah Test Range, and the sun was going down. It was starting to get pretty dark, but the 117 was still up, still being lit because the sun hadn't gone all the way down below the horizon. And it looked, because the change in shadows, because it faceted, it looked as though it was changing shape. And if I didn't know any different, because you look,
Chad?
Chad's saying hi.
Yeah.
If you look at what, I didn't mean to stop you.
Yeah, that's all right. My wife does it all the time.
So if we look at what?
Oh, I forget where I was going on that, but
you were talking about seeing when you first saw the F-117.
When you look at an F-117 head on in the air, it's a flying saucer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not far off, Sonny, with what you say there, because I can see it. But
it's just that little dome on top.
This right here.
Yeah.
And then now that I see that, when I tell you guys about the big flying wing thing I seen, it didn't have that little V in the back, but the wings were it was just these two big ass wings. Like it was like a flying boomerang. And then that cockpit was like right at the tip of it. I can see the windows, but it protruded out all the way to the round tip of whatever I was seeing.
That could have been a scale composite bird.
Yeah, that is so cool, man.
Now I assumed, based on everything else around, I'm trying to find a standard size of something, and I figured that the concrete panel, the concrete slabs in the taxiway and the apron are square. So they're usually either 20 or 25 feet.
I think I have a picture I can put up right now on here.
It's a head-on shot in the hangar. If I sent that along with you.
No, I meant I think the one I have is of B21. This thing, I think this is sitting on the ground. You can just leave that right there. I think this is going to overlay everything, Enzo. Let me try this real quick. This is what I'm talking about. I have a picture of that somewhere sitting on the ground. I thought it was in here. It shows the size because of it's sitting on the cement and the square pieces on the cement. You had told me before the size of that, and I can't remember.
I found a few of those when I was looking before the show because I thought I might find a few extras. But Jim, of course, has the way better pictures, and most of the pictures are of mock-ups before anybody ever saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, size comparisons and stuff like that. The pictures that Jim gave us here, and that one YouTube or that one Twitter video that I showed, that's the only like actual. That's the actual plane.
People standing back there, and that building's big, man.
Yeah.
Well, I have when I was with Joel Christopher Payne, who's a Disney artist, and Michael Schratt and I were given a tour of SpaceX in February. And I was invited to tour SpaceX from Elon Musk. He likes my Blackbird book.
Everyone.
In fact, it's on his desk. This is per his right-hand woman. Her name is Jen. And when we were there, we stopped at the Michael wanted to go to the Northrop Grumman campus in Manhattan Beach. I think it'd be TRW way back in the day. Because they have an open campus and he wanted to go to the gift shop. So we did. And I had with me, I don't know why I carried it with me. I had a damaged B2 book of mine. It's 160 pages. I cover everything from the N1M all the way up through the B2. And I cover all 21 B2s. And so I asked the young lady who was the receptionist at the restaurant, the cashier, store manager, or whatever you want to call her. I said, "You don't have anything on the B2." She said, "Well, we could really use something." So I put my book on her counter. I said, something like this, and she goes through it. She starts getting all excited. Oh my God! I mean, it's just going crazy. And I said, what are you going to do with this book? I said, send it to your boss. So she did. The next day I get a call from her boss. Oh, wow, Mike. Oh, geez. Wow, holy, oh, geez. This is incredible. How long has it been out? 6 years or 5 years. Oh, I'm sending it off to my boss. His name's Lou. He's been in the company 40 years. He said, next time you're in the hour area, let me know. And we'll make an announcement because we've ordered a pallet load of your B2 books.
Pallet load.
Well, for every location in Northrop Grumman worldwide. And they said if you love the B2, you also got to love the Blackbird. I said it's not our product, but I'm going to get a bunch of those as well. So that's what he did. But he said, when you're ready, come out here. And I'll probably have 100 copies. And I said, well, I'll sign them all. He said, any chance of seeing the B21? This is before it flew for the first time. And he said, I've been here 40 years with Northrop. And it says, I haven't had a chance to see it. So the answer is no. And I said, well, I'd like to do a B2 type book on the B21. He said, well, you have to wait at least a decade. I said, all right, I'll be pushing 90, but okay.
I'll be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So he said, when you're ready to come out, and that's why I may be coming out and give you a visit there, Sonny.
Oh, okay.
I will have come from Palmdale.
Oh, all right.
And
Stories and pictures.
And I got I have a dear friend who is the retired chief of police in Tulare, and Roger Hill. I have to go see him. He used to come out in the desert with us. He and his commandant and his chief of homicide. Those are always fun guys to have out in the desert. Yeah. Especially when you're harassed by the camo dudes. And they said, boy, they were stepping all over. They didn't ask them for identification. They focused on Stu Brown from Popular Science, myself. Because one of the sheriff guys, we were surrounded by camo dudes and sheriff. And one of the sheriff guys says, look familiar. And I said, I've interacted with Doug Lamoureux a dozen or so times, and probably you. So yeah, I probably do look familiar. He said, what's your name? I said, Jim Goodall. And you could just see him go, oh shit. I'm not going to get anywhere on this. And so the cop said, the sheriff said, I want to see inside your pack. I said, you got a search warrant? No. I said, when you get a search warrant, fine. Until then, no. Well, if you have nothing to hide, I said, I don't have anything to hide, and it's none of your business what I have in there. I'm not committing any crime. I'm on public lands. I'm not violating any ordinances. So, well, you're not supposed to be taking photos of what's west of here. I said, what's west of here? I'm a bird watcher. I know birds, but I'm a bird watcher. I mean, those guys just give me a pain in the butt because you just happen to have your binoculars handy. Huh? And so, oh, geez.
Always keep the binoculars handy. So I like watching birds too. Oh,
okay. Yeah. I mean, my time with John Lear when I was gonna irritate that guy from Advanced Security Inc. to the point that he was going to have a nervous breakdown. He wasn't going to intimidate me. And I think they realized that after about 15, 20 minutes that, no, this guy's not easily intimidated. And when we finally got our IDs, that's when they. This is 11:30 at night. And I heard, "No shit, it's Goodall in there," and the lights when the red dots went away and the floodlights went away. So, but we were talking about my newest adventure, and you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. You've seen movies like Romance in the Stone and all these other George of the Jungle type of adventures. I've been to Belize twice this year. Went in April with a whole group of us. Jared Murphy and Michael Roser were the two people we knew of the group, but ended up meeting everybody else. Tyler was there and a few others, and we went down there. We initially were going to go to Peru and see if we can locate some megalithic structures that we could do some excavation on or whatever. And about the same time, they had the coup. And if you don't speak the language and you're a gringo, I don't think being down in South America or Central America during a revolution or a coup is the
Not
best
a good idea.
the best place to, that you can think of better places to go than there. So Jared ended up through a friend of a friend, got to know a gentleman who has 7,000 acres just outside of Punta Gorda. And he wants to grow mahogany there, but he knows there's some structure there. And if there was any way that we could develop without paying an arm and a leg for LiDAR to go through and look at everything on the 7,000 acres is just shy of 11 square miles. That's a lot of land.
A lot. That's a lot.
And I was there for the Bataan Death March version, abbreviated version on the last Thursday. But so we decided to go to Belize, and we ended up going down to Punta Gorda. Now locals refer to as Punta Gorda the ass of Belize. So we'll just leave it like that. I mean, even the worst city streets that you've encountered, that's the downtown business district of Punta Gorda. It's just, I don't think there's more than 150 feet of road without potholes until you get out of town, and then the roads are pretty good. So the first night we got there, I ate something bad at Houston Intercontinental, and I never want to go back there. I absolutely hate that airport.
You've had a lot of problems with Houston Airport, as I recall.
Yeah. I have no use for Houston, the airport. People are nice. I have friends down there, but I just have no use for the airport. We ended up the first full day we're there. We're at the Batum pyramid complex, which has tops have been excavated. And the Batum is, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that is where the famous crystal skull was found, just laying on the dirt.
That's for anyone who's familiar with all those different skulls. This is the really good looking one, the very pretty one. It's very
That's
nice.
where they get the magic to fly these planes at, Enzo, from that skull.
Stare into the skull and scribe.
I've been staring at this picture, Jim, and I know it's a good picture, but you can tell that this dude was far away.
Yeah. It's when you look at it a little close, it's a little pixelated, but
he was hiding somewhere. And then that gives you a good size reference.
This one's the back. Well, it's very, very similar to B2's rear end. This one doesn't have a movable bobtail. That was the original B2 didn't either. The original B2 was configured with just 3 trailing edge points. But when they went from just a high altitude penetrator to a high, low, high, because you want to come in on the deck just before you get to them pop up, even though you're a low observable. You don't want to give them any advance warning.
Yep.
And this one here is designed for, you're just going to fly at 50,000 feet. You're not going to know it's coming. You're not going to know it just dropped 8 2,000-pound bunker busters or 40 small diameter bombs that can fly 100 miles either side of your line of flight. And it can hit within about, a meter and a half. So you get 4 feet, 1,000-pound high explosive. Yeah, it'll ruin your day. And what the weird thing it has on it, if you look on the side of the fuselage, it looks like an A. Those are the auxiliary inlet doors. Yeah, the B2 has one over each engine, and it sort of goes up like cat's claws.
And this one doesn't carry the amount of payload that the B2 carries. The B21
carries half
doesn't
the
carry as much, but the stealth on it is supposed to get it in closer, and they don't have to carry as much of a payload, so they can actually be more accurate.
Well, it's now certified. The B2 has just been certified for the new B21-12, and then they're coming out with a -13, which is a penetrator version, which will be utilized in the F-15, the F-16, the F-35, F-22, and B2. The only bomb trucks that are not configured for nuclear weapons are the B-52s and the B-2s. The B-1s are non-nuclear. Those, I think that all the electronics and everything for handling nuclear weapons has been removed.
On the B1s, you said?
Pardon?
That was the B1 you were just talking about?
No, the B-52.
Oh, the B-52. Okay.
Yeah. It's a nuclear deterrent. The B-1 Lancer is not. Now this is a real weird windscreen. Anytime you have any type of opening, if you have too big an opening, like the B2 windows, if you look inside of it, it has a gold wire mesh, real fine wire mesh, almost like a screen up through the. And it's about the windshield's about this thick.
Oh,
so
wow.
Well, I mean, it has to take impact of a goose at 500 miles an hour. I mean, it's on a fairly good incline, but you hit it and it's gonna.
Yeah, it's pretty steep right there.
Yeah. Sonny, I'm going to send you an email here in just a minute. I'm going to send you a picture of the B21 head on.
Put it in Messenger, and I'll forward it to Enzo.
Okay, I'm just going to get one up.
Right now, he's. I have that open, and I can just drop it right to him. He's the one that's putting the pictures up right now.
Yeah.
I do that because his internet's better than mine, Jim, and it works so much better. The pictures are clearer.
Okay.
I just barely got chat back right now. I don't know what happened to StreamYard, but chat just totally disappeared for me, guys, for like the last 2 minutes. That didn't happen with you, Enzo?
Everything's good on my side. And
okay, it just went.
Okay. Jim, in this particular picture here, I don't know if you can see this. These darker areas here and here around the co-pilot window, what are those? What's going on with those spots?
That is to look at your inlet. Yeah. And also you have on the B2, it allows you to see some of the inlet not operation, but if the auxiliary doors are open, I'm surprised it's weird looking as it is.
That's true.
Now the black stripes underneath the windscreen, the main windscreen.
Oh, up here. Oh, this one.
Go up right there. Yeah, those are probably the sensors that are directly below it, because you have the 4 dots. The 4 dots over here, and the four.
Yep.
Those and the ones. Yeah,
those
more
sensors, huh?
Yeah. Those are all your sensors. Those, because they can't have an external probe, excluding the test boom. That's only there for test.
And you can really see that. That really sticks out there pretty far past there. You can see it.
Yeah, I mean it's totally out of the airstream or any type of interference.
He says he saw this in a dream.
That was with John Travolta and Christian Slater were in that movie. and when they opened up Christian Slater's
he said in his dream this thing had a tractor beam. Does it have a tractor beam?
Yeah. But they opened his locker there in ops.
For $2 million, it better have everything.
Well, no, they're saying this is going to be a $500 to $800 million in constant to $2010.
I thought it was around $2 billion by the time they get them things built.
Well, that's total lifestyle.
That is so cool. When I seen that big old wing that came over our houses that was that low, I remember I told you I could see the square like pieces of sheet metal or that it was built out of. Like I could tell that it was riveted, just square. That's what was put up in there. The bottom of this thing is just smooth and perfect. And
well, you don't want to have any. You don't want to have anything exposed. This is the head-on shot.
Yeah.
So I made the assumption that the concrete panels are 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the flag is I think it's a 6 by 10 foot. So I assume this was 10 foot. So I used, I looked at the panels underneath, and I calculated it's 138 foot wingspan, between 135 and 138 feet. And this way you get a fairly good head-on shot. You can see underneath the windscreen those 2 light gray, almost like underneath eyebrows. Those are the sensors that are comparable. Yeah, no, I was right there underneath in the front of the right there. Yeah.
Go, zoom out just a little tiny bit, right there. Hey, Jim, that might be a 20-foot flag. Unless all those people are 5 feet tall. Because if I turn the flag up, there's one big guy down there that's got to be at least. He's got to be 6
Yeah,
foot
I was
tall.
trying to find standard size.
I don't know. Yeah, that's about right. I guess 10 feet maybe.
10 feet's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's smaller than I thought it was going to be. I mean, that's big. That's big, but I mean, that's smaller than I thought that was going to be.
Well, the first time I got up close and personal in a B2, and I climbed up inside the cockpit's huge. By military standards, I almost have a living room, and so it's.
Oh, really? That's space.
It was supposed to be 3 crew members. And when they close the crew hatch, because there's a ladder going up. And when they close the crew hatch, it's an area that's 3 feet by 6.5 feet. It's flat floor. Plus you have a commode there, a porta potty, where the third station would be. And that's where if you're going to be on a 40-hour mission, you're going to have toiletries, you're going to have food and everything else there. So, and I know a number of guys that flew from Whiteman Air Force Base to Kosovo and back. And I asked him, I looked him straight in the eye and I said, all right, did we drop a 2,000-pound bomb through the second floor window of the Chinese embassy? Or was that a mistake? And they both started laughing and turned their back on me.
Oops.
Because Harry was night 1 and Tony was night 5. And they didn't know if they'd been tracked or anything. And when they were night 1 was just coming back as night 2 was heading, and they met mid-Atlantic. And on secure voice, they said, well, did they know you were there? And he said, nope, not until it started going boom, 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 boom. And one of the funny things that Tony Manetti said, he was on night 5. There was a bridge over the Danube River they were trying to take down. And they had 2 or 3 F-117s drop their load on this bridge, and it damaged the paint. An F-15E dropped a couple 2,000-pound bombs on it, didn't do squat. So they've already dropped 8 2,000-pounder GPS guided on their primary targets. Their secondary targets have already taken out. So listen to AWACS. AWACS doesn't know they're there. So they head over to the Danube River. I have imagery. I'd have to dig it up. I have imagery, radar imagery, and to quote Tony, he said it's a Kodak moment. I mean, a sharp black and white image. And I mean this is 25 years ago, because I saw old stuff, and that was during that was 10, 15 years ago. So I mean, a lot of water's going to the bridge. But they what was I doing with that? I hate it when I have a change of thought and it goes squirrel. It just drives me nuts. But
what emissions?
So they had a picture. They had a picture of the bridge, and they dropped. And it's a bridge like the Bay Bridge in San Francisco Bay Bridge, as a center island, if you want to call it. Where I forget how much. There's so much concrete in there, you could do a 3-foot wide sidewalk halfway to the moon, or something like that. A lot of concrete. And that was the type of bridge it was. So they dropped 6 2,000-pound bombs in the same location. And then the other 2 2,000-pound JDAMs they dropped at the north end. And the next view you saw there was the center concrete pylon island, if you want to call it that, and everything else is in water. So it's a very the B2 and our smart weapons and GPS guided weapons are pretty amazing when you think about it. Now, it's a very, very thin wing, but a fairly deep fuselage. So the B2 could fly maybe 6,500 nautical miles. This one's probably a little bit farther. It has longer legs than the B2. A little bit more efficient. Again, I assumed, of course, assume's not a very good word to use, but I assumed it was a 4-engine airplane. But looking at the engine bays from the bottom, as the when on the flybys, it's too far. There isn't enough room for 4 engines side by side, unless they went to a much smaller, more efficient engine.
The way the engine base slope, it looks like one.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I mean, one on each side, not dual.
Yeah, no, there's one on each side. No, but it was good. Is it twin engine or a 4-engine?
Yeah, and
it appears just because there's not enough room for additional. Looking at the bottom,
There might be a way to stick them in there sideways, but there's no intake room in the front right there. It looks like it's just for one jet.
We don't know how far down. We don't know how it slopes down. So that's very deceiving.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's not a big opening, but that's why it's at subsonic. When they're starting the engines, they have the auxiliary doors open because they can suck air through there. Tops of stealth bombers or fighters, for that matter, aren't really critical unless you're in an air-to-air combat mode. The thing about a low observable airplanes, such as the Blackbird, was a first-generation stealth. The very, very small radar cross-section, about 22 square inches subsonic, 10.5 square miles supersonic, because you ionize the air. These things are subsonic, and they have a typical surface-to-air missile can't lock onto them. So I can't, and there's no, I mean, even if you set it, and you may not, on your weapons radar when you're trying to determine the distance and the altitude and the forward speed and whatever,
not gonna be able to lock on.
You're not going to be able to lock on for any length of time. And then if you fire your surface-to-air missile, it has, the radar dish is what, 8 inches, 10 inches. You're going to need something about 20 feet to be able to pick up these. And again, it's a two-man crew. Well, yeah, if landing, anytime you open up any panel, which would be the nose gear, landing gear, or the bomb bays, you are going to get a large spike. But typically, the landing gear is not down unless you're landing. And if you're that vulnerable, you're screwed anyway.
But the second part of his comment, I think it's come up a couple times in the chat. That's why I highlighted it, is why not make it bigger like the B2? Why go with a smaller model than the B2?
They learned an awful lot in the B2. This is son of B2. That's the best way. And you could put a dot in between the 2 and the 1, so it'd B2 Rev 1. Yeah. Because they learned an awful lot of what the mission is, just based on what the B2 ended up doing. And let me what's out here.
Those got to be safer too. If you ever instead of crashing, you ever run out of fuel, I bet if they turn sideways, they just start tumbling and then return back to where they came from. Shaped like that big ass boomerang.
Like a boomerang technology, just comes back wherever it started at.
They'll just start tumbling, and then they'll just go all the way back where they took off from. That's how come we don't lose those.
Extra barf bags on that one.
That's Australian technology.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of every time I see one. It just looks like a big boomerang, and it doesn't seem possible for it to fly without a tail, without the tail, wing, and rudder.
Well, no, it does. It does have vertical stabs. They're called the main gear doors.
Yeah.
I have a number of photographs of the B2 taking off. The gear is all the way up, nose gear and tail gear, and main gear. And the doors are still down. And that's
pretty clever, actually.
For slow speed, that's why they're so robust. I mean, the B2 doors have to be 8 inches.
Those things are big,
and they're smooth on both sides. It's sawtooth on the leading and trailing edge, but it's a very robust door. And those act as vertical stabs
for low speeds,
for very low speed. Yeah,
you can see those gear doors hang down a lot. That's quite a pretty good airfoil.
The gear doors do not have to be
flying straight. To me, that machine looks like it would go like it would just do barrel or loops, not barrel rolls, but
Jim,
just with no
Jim
rear
Eastham.
wing. When I see that, I say it amazes me that they fly like they do, and they're so fast.
Jim Eastham, one of the A-12 and YF-12 pilots, he told me before the B-2 flew, he said, that's going to auger in on takeoff. And it didn't. And I think he was disappointed. I know Northrop wasn't disappointed, but he was disappointed it didn't auger in. And there's going to be some better photos coming out of this thing here as it matures a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're going to build 100 of them.
Oh, wow. The first time I saw a B-2 taxiing around at Edwards years and years ago, as it was taxiing by, I remembered how just scrawny looking the nose gear was. And it seemed like it was all the way at the very tip, it seemed. It's like, that thing's going to get ripped off the first landing. There's no way. You know, it just didn't look, you know, especially, you know, for a heavy bomber, that classification, you know, because you're used to thinking about, you know, B-52s and, you know, even B-1s have a pretty beefy gear to haul those armaments around. And then to see that, it's like, what? But it does have these.
When you look at the nose gear of the B-2, it's, you know, it's pretty robust.
I guess it's in relative, you know, to seeing the rest of it as it's taxiing around. It's like,
I would never think that door was 8 inches thick.
It's not very long nose to tail because it's all wing, but it's 172-foot wingspan. They wanted to adhere to Jack Northrop's original design because the XB-35 and the YB-49 were at 172 feet, and the same sweep back on the leading edge. It's just, and when he said, there was a documentary, he said, now I know why God has kept me alive the last 25 years. This was to see the model of the B-2. He never saw it fly. He died shortly thereafter.
Oh, man.
And these were really, really low resolution photos, and I had just a terrible time trying to clean them up. But they were the first.
That's great. This is a beautiful shot with the sunset in the back. That's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's.
Big Willie has a question. What are Jim's thoughts on the moon landing and the equipment that got us there?
I like the other one.
You got to start with this one.
I was in the vehicle assembly building when Apollo 12, 13, and 14 were being stacked. Apollo 11 had already gone to the moon and come back. And you have no idea just how big a Saturn V is until you're standing up next to the transporter.
It's just monstrous.
Yeah. And the same goes for the Falcon 9. I picture me standing in front of the Falcon 9 that's in front of the headquarters there in Hawthorne. That's a big friggin' rocket. And some of them now, one of them I think holds the record. It's been to space 18 times.
Oh, hell
that's incredible.
Yeah. And here's a guy who knew absolutely nothing about it, but everything I needed to know was on the internet. Good going, Elon. I love that guy. I really do. He
is. Did you like his commentary there yesterday?
Yeah.
Just go fuck yourself.
Yeah. He said, I didn't spend that 40 billion because I wanted to run a platform. I paid 40 billion to ensure free speech.
That's incredible. Saying that.
Yeah.
That's
and when he tells Disney, yeah,
sit and spin, Bob.
It reminds me. No, this is back in the 70s. 70s? No, I think it was still the 60s. My girlfriend, Karen Mulligan, I was with her brother and his wife, and they had two girls, Shannon and Kelly. We're in a station wagon, and we're going through Long Beach. We're at a stoplight, and all of a sudden, there's about 24 desperados, motorcycle gang, motorcycle club.
Club.
And Shannon, who is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed towhead, she's sitting in the back of the station wagon, and she knocks on the window, and these guys look over, and she goes, I thought we were all gonna die. And these guys started laughing so hard they almost dropped their motorcycles. That was just funny.
You're lucky.
Yeah. And I have no idea why that popped into my head, but it did. I'm glad. It was a good, and I still stay in
those little acts of rebelliousness. It's great.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to her. I know her aunt. She was my former girlfriend.
Oh.
And I still talk to her 60 years later.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I believe in recycling.
Recycling. All right, let's I was kind of surprised. Now I noticed this when we had the video at the beginning of all of this. Is it just the way that the sun is hitting the bottom of this, or is it two different shades of gray on the bottom of it?
It's all the same color.
Is it? Okay.
It's all the same color. And the B2 is the same color all the way around too, but it's a darker gray. This is like
hey, what's?
gray.
I saw that. I was like, what is? Hey, what's that?
that's the original Northrop logo, and I was right above in front of the nose wheel as well.
Oh yeah, there's
the logo. Yeah.
So we see these I guess panels, or we can see some type of structure here. This is more sensors, you think?
No. If you look down the center line, the center line of the aircraft, that is the center of the bomb bay. No, keep going up.
Some opens under there.
These are the actual bomb bay doors.
When it seals back up, that makes a damn nothing.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Maybe, hey Enzo, maybe they'll pull up and then over into that plane instead of opening.
No, they drop
pull
down.
up and slide.
The same as the B2.
Man, they close.
That's pretty smooth.
Yeah,
because that really does look like where they would put like something on there and kind of like Bondo over it, kind of a thing. Is kind of what it looks like. Especially like with these edges. That looks like some kind of
this
work.
This is a real low resolution image. So who knows what a sharp image would. And to ensure that I get sharper images, I went and bought myself a Nikon 850 today. That's my birthday present to me. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. But I have a D610 as well. And the batteries look identical, but they don't work.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'll keep my 610 as my backup and use my 850 from this point forward. I only have Nikon lenses. So
how thick is the bottom of that plane? They're not
as thick as it has to be. The skin could be 30 thousandths. This is a composite airframe and a composite wing.
There.
And Boeing built most of the B2, even though it is a Northrop Grumman airplane. They built most of the B2. They did the outer wings. They did the aft center fuselage. They owned majority stake in LTV at the time, that the engine nacelles and the inner wing panels. So I don't know what Boeing's involvement is on this, because they have the ability, they have the very, very large autoclaves there at the, we used to call it the Black Hangar there at Boeing Field, but now it's tan. So it's trying to be a low observable. It's just, and the wire sticking out the back. You see the wire heading out?
Yep.
Okay, that's just another sensor that goes beyond as far back far enough so it's not in any turbulence. And there's sensors in it.
And that's part of the normal setup for that, or is that something that's still in the testing phase?
This is to validate the onboard equipment, because until they go into the air and go into an in the air environment, you know how well or how accurate the static pitot tube is, how it affects this and that and whatever. So they'll run it through its tests with the test foam and probably the trailing wire as well. A good example is when they, back in the 60s and the 70s, they had a Douglas Glowmaster 2, I think it was. It was a C-133. It looked like a C-130. And they only operated them for 10 years, but because they kept crashing. And there were two reasons why it crashed. The static pitot tubes were in the wrong position on the fuselage.
Ooh.
So at certain angles of attack, you got a bogus reading. And then the props were electrically controlled, and the control unit is up right at the very top of the wing, sort of in between the shoulder blades, if you want to describe it that way. And a couple of them went out, never came back. They don't know. They know they crashed. There was a mayday, and that's all they had. And they found bits and pieces. That's a navigation light. They pop down. Now for flight tests, they may be, that's one thing you don't want to have to worry about. So they may just, those may be permanent on the number one airframe. This is airframe 1 or AV1. That's a telemetry antenna. That's to make sure and that wouldn't be on an operational airplane. So you're gonna have stuff that this airplane will carry, or even and maybe not even have, that the operational airplane will have. And right now there's no need to have that. But it's a pretty incredible airplane. I mean,
it's amazing.
And you can only have it with fly-by-wire. When they were flying the original,
the way it's done.
Yeah, when they flew the original Have Blue, the technology demonstrator for the F-117, and a couple other programs like Senior Prom and Senior Ice. When they first took off, even with the 117s, the control surfaces were, just really going nuts. And as they refined their flight control laws, the flutter got less and less and less and less. And now you could hardly even see it. But it does move. They all move, but just a little bit now instead of a lot. But as you look in here, I can see where the Bombay is. I can see where an engine could go. So, but you look at the gear doors. The gear doors don't have to be that big to do their job.
What is that thing trailing off of it?
Pardon?
Well, that black line behind it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a probe. That's another flight test. Yeah, there's if you push it all the way out, keep zooming it out.
That's as far as it'll go.
Oh, okay. There's a little orange cone on the end of it, and this goes back 500-600 feet behind the airplane. Outside of it's outside of the turbulence area, and the Bombay and a lot of the avionics boxes are probably filled up with test equipment. Also, and you have a really good sized Bombay, so you can put a lot of equipment up in there during flight tests.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be validated until they start
Enzo,
weapons.
Jim, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I got to step away for a minute. I'm going to take myself
Okay.
out. I'm sorry, man. You're going
All
to have to take over.
We're doing great.
You
Tim's doing
got the
fantastic.
controls. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I just got to do something. I got a phone call and it was an emergency. So I'll be right back.
Handle your emergency. We got
it.
Yeah. All right. It's all ours now. We can get crazy. Yeah. So,
right.
But my adventure in Belize is getting really exciting.
Yeah, I was about to say, are we done with the V21? Can we talk about your adventures in Belize?
Pretty much.
I think I still have your pictures from your last trip from when you were on.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't.
But let the folks know. I know you were did you go down on Thanksgiving Day?
No, we went down the 13th, came back the 17th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's Monday through Friday. And again, I put a post on Facebook. I said, even if it means riding in a flea and chigger infested Greyhound bus, avoid Houston Intercontinental. I'm not being very kind at all. That place is just. It took me. Excuse me. I'm looking for something. It took me 3 trains to finally get to the right concourse. I took all the right trains, but they didn't go to the locations they said they were going to. So, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that my flight was delayed, else I missed the flight. And coming back, I never had a problem going out, but coming back, I'm in Houston. I'm going through immigrations and customs. And the customs guy said, "Yeah, what'd you have for lunch today?" I said, I had breakfast, scrambled eggs. Anything else? I said, no. I said, how about lunch? I said, I had pizza. What kind of pizza? And I said, pepperoni. Oh, you said you had pepperoni? I said, yeah. My birth year was 1945. Big Willie. So I says, what's so important? And all of a sudden, I'm being hauled off to going down into the catacombs of Houston Intercontinental, and I'm being led. They go through and they go through all my stuff again. I'm just have a backpack because I was only there for 4 days, 4 nights, I should say. I said, "What the hell's going on?" He said, "Pork products are banned from entering the country." I said, "They're in my stomach. Should I drop my pants and take a dump?"
Exactly. I would have said the same thing.
And he said, "Don't get smart with me." I said, "No, I just been a long day."
Heaven forbid. I don't want to outweigh you already.
Yeah. So I finally get through this maze, and I finally get up to the B concourse. I looked at the reader board.
Wait. So they literally pulled you out because you had pizza, a pepperoni
because I had
the day before. That was it.
Pepperoni, which is yes. That's as asinine. That's as, and I mean they checked me for.
That's not normal. That can't be the legitimate reason why they would pull you out.
No, that is the reason. The guy down in the lower level said the same thing.
What?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. No, that was just one more reason to hate in Houston Intercontinental. So the reader board says your flight takes off in about 45 minutes from Houston to Phoenix. It's been a long day. I go down. It's a Y-type terminal. I'm down on one leg, so I'm going down the very far end of one leg of the Y. Here's gate B83, 84, 85, 87, 88, 89. I said, where's gate B86? Oh, we don't have one. Well, I have 2.5 million miles just on West Delta Airlines. I've been on a lot of, I know how to read these damn boards.
Yeah.
So I says, where's my flight? Where's my flight to Phoenix? Oh, it's been moved over to B73. So I go a quarter mile back and I go back over to the other side and it's there for a bit. And then all of a sudden it's not there. And I said to the young lady behind the ticket, not ticket out, but the check-in there at the gate, where's flight 6060? Oh, let me think. Well, it has left its destination, where it was at. So no matter when it said it was supposed to be here, it's going to be at least 3 hours before it gets here. He said it hasn't taken off. I said, according to my information, no, it hasn't. It was 5.5 hours late.
Oh.
So I did a survey. I asked some United Airlines flight attendants and United Airlines cockpit crew. I said, is your opinion of an Intercontinental the same as mine? I said, what is yours? I said, I'd much rather ride in a flea and chigger infested Greyhound bus than come back to this airport. And he says, pretty much we all feel about the same way. It was the worst experience. It was terrible. And everything okay, Sonny?
Yeah, it's all good. I'll have to take another one in probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
All right. I'll
have to leave again. I'll take another break. I get lots of breaks around here.
Yeah.
We actually have a commercial I was going to run halfway through the show, but that was 20 minutes ago and I forgot about it. So we should probably take a break right now.
We have a halfway point?
Coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes, we'll take one and I'll play the video. It's a video I shot of my buddy Carlos. He's going to be our intermission today.
Yeah.
It was. He's a good singer, guys. He's awesome. He's really good. And the video is just him. It's not his band. It's his band is DB and the Struggle. So there's no struggle, just DB in there with acoustic guitar and microphone. That's what we'll do for commercial.
So as I started this day, my first full day in Belize, there's 10 of us. We're in 2 vehicles. We're not sure what we're going to be doing yet. We haven't met John and Scott, and those are the family that has the 7,000 acres. And we're at the Louboutin Pyramid Complex. And our guy, who is an archaeologist, had pointed out this is this part of the pyramid in this tree. This is a tree that speaks to the rain god. Oh, okay. He no sooner said that, and the sky just opened up. It's 86 degrees, and the rain is 86 degrees. So I mean, you go from a little bit sweaty to just wet, but there's no difference in temperature. So I have a real bad sense of balance. So as we're coming down at the end, it's about a 1.25 1.5 walk around. And the steps going down, I mean, I am, as the crow flies, I am 10 feet from the end of the tour of the pyramid. But I don't want to go down these steps that are, I mean, they're not very wide either. And then after the first 4, then they're okay. So I see it, and there's a little path around. Other people have had the same feeling. So I grab hold of the small tree and I take a step and off I go, face first into a pile of rubble. And I got a slash underneath my kneecap and a puncture wound just above my ankle. And when it's raining, a little bit of blood goes a long way. And when it's raining and you have a puncture wound and stuff, a lot of blood goes a long, long way. I mean, it looked like somebody'd been slaughtered. Didn't hurt. I mean, it was irritating, but it didn't really hurt. So, they go down, they get one of the guys there, and they come up, they bitch me up and everything else. And we're going out of town, and we're going out of the pyramid complex, and we're going to this little town, this little village, and there's a medical clinic. So we just pull in there and said, "Hey," I says, I got damaged at the pyramid." And the doctor looked at me. He's from Cuba. He says, "You're going to need stitches." I said, "Yeah, I figured as much." He said, "I'm waiting for my nurse. I'll call my nurse. She'll be here in about 40 minutes. Just take a bus from wherever she's at." And he sews me up. He said, "Mr. Goodall," says, "How old are you?" And I said, 78. And he looked at me and says, 78? You're doing what? George, you're playing George the Jungle. And my feeling, I said, if you quit moving, you rust. When you rust, you fall apart. And I don't want that to happen. And I know I'm gonna live to be over 100. Most of the males on my mom's side of the family live to be 103, 105, 107. And that was my great-great-grandfather. No medical, no dental plan, just a hardy Sicilian fisherman. So,
yeah, that's great.
I hear bells.
Yeah, my phone, it's going off.
All right. We'll see you when you get back.
Oh, I ain't leaving yet.
Oh, okay.
So how many stitches do you end up taking for that?
11.
11?
They gave me a tetanus shot. It'd been 15 years since I had tetanus. And he said, whatever you do, you cannot go in the water. You can go into a pool.
No way.
You can take a shower, but you do not go into any rivers. You don't go into any brackish mangrove swamp. And unless you're going on a boat, you don't get off and go wading down on the shore, especially down in Punta Gorda. So I missed out. I missed out some of the travels because they did on 3 different occasions. They took a boat to this 7,000 acre parcel, and they found grave robbers. Grave robbers had been there, and I think they got them, but I'm not sure. A lot of money. Very, very valuable stuff.
It just seems like all this time has gone by that it would have been picked over by now, the easy stuff, and they're still out there poking around.
But it's not. No, it's not easy. It's not easy stuff to get to.
Okay.
First of all, the day that we made an inland march to the site, there were 9 anomalies that were picked up on satellite imagery using different filters and whatever, and it turned out to be either shell mounds or debris from building. But we ended up we were a couple of the other crew wanted to go see this waterfall and caves. So we're just following them, and as we go through this couple little villages, and all of a sudden we see them parked over to the side. So we pull up and said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Well, we have there's a pyramid here." So we drove up. There's trees there, and there's shrubs and whatever, but there's really nothing to see. And about 5 minutes later, a whole pack of women and kids with trinkets to sell showed up. And a few minutes later, short-statured gentleman in a boat for Santos, I think it was, or something like that, on a T-shirt.
Vote for Pedro.
With a machete strapped to his back. said it turned out to be Alfredo. He's the mayor. He's the equivalent of the mayor of the village.
Oh,
So we started talking. Jared started talking. Next thing you knew, we came back a couple of days later, and they had to be able to get into their medical clinic. It's just a building, keep them out of the rain. That's all it is. Because the door mechanism failed inside. So even if you had a key, it made no difference. They don't know how to use tools, electric tools. So where we're staying, we borrowed some tools and drills and whatever, and we did it for them. And then they started telling us about the pyramid that the village was cut off from the world until 2012, when they cut about a 4 or 5 mile road through the jungle. Before that, they had to go through the jungle. They had their fairly well-worn paths. They don't have electricity. They do have water well, and there's you can get Wi-Fi if you come up to the entrance to the pyramid complex. So you have to walk all the way from town up there. So it's it's not quite 21st century living. Yeah. Very few of the houses have houses have windows. They have openings, but no doors or windows. And some of them have doors and such. But there's 750 some odd total villagers. One of the advantages, it used to be called British Honduras, and the official language of Belize is English. So we didn't have to worry about losing something in translation.
That's great.
Gas in Belize dollars is $12.50 to $13 a gallon. And their dollars is worth $2 American dollars.
Wow.
Or $1 American dollars for $2 Belize dollars, excuse me. Yeah.
Jim, a couple minutes ago, you did mention Jared. I know we talked a little bit before the show about Jared, but for our audience, could you give us an update on how Jared is doing? I know he's had some health issues.
Jared Murphy's from Minnesotans. Even though I wasn't born in Minnesota, I claim it because all my babies are there. I have two children buried there, and 2 ex-wives live in the area. So I'm a Minnesotan. Jared on it was a Memorial Day weekend of this year. We had returned back on May 1st from Belize on our first 2-week jaunt down there, and we're all excited. I was going to meet him, and he and Michaela was living in Salt Lake. I was up in Boise area, actually in Star, Idaho. But I had gone. This was on my trip when I went and spent 2 days with Bob Lazar, and then continued up to Seattle, and then back down.
And so, I am gonna have to dip out. Do you want to take a break right here, Jim? And
Sure.
Is that all right, guys? Because I need a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, we can do that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, we need to take a break anyway. And as I wanted to play that video, and we're going to be more than halfway through the show.
Not a problem.
I keep forgetting, man. Okay,
how
guys,
long is the video?
It's gonna be 3 minutes. So this is the first time the Chop Shop's taking an intermission. I learned this from Jess.
Jess Rogies.
She's got commercials and stuff. She's all good. But yeah, guys, and it just so happens I have to take a break. So let me put this up, see if we can do this. I do believe it's here. There it is. Okay, guys.
Back in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be back in a minute. I'll take us down and I'll put this up. All right, here we go. No, but I want to make it.
my homies from the old school. You uncles and to my homies, keep it real and stay true. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Back in the day, we used to party on the west side, drinking molasses and eating hot fry in their 6-degree ride. Did not worry about the 5-0, and it was all about survival. Well, back in '97, drinking 7 on a Tuesday night, and it went alright. Oh, every now and then when I look back and think all was night, just sit back and drink. It feels like yesterday. It don't seem so far away. Well, you won't go glad to my homies from the old school. You won't go glad to my homies, keep it real and stay true. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Eastern California. Whoa, yeah. Washington Union High School class of '94. That's when I should have graduated.
Yeah! Still off the hook. 2011, singing like hell.
Wow,
that was that long ago. That guy's done videos and everything, guys. If you want to check him out,
yeah. What's his name? Where can people find
that is Carlos. His band's name's DB and the Struggle. DB, as in
DB and the Struggle.
Drunk Bastard and the Struggle. DB
Is that
and the
what it
Struggle.
stands for?
Yes, and go check him out on Spotify, guys. You'll like it. The album cover, like I went to school with Carlos. The album cover, my cousin that does all my tattoos and all our artwork, he did that. So he did, yeah. The guy that plays the saxophone, that's Jesse, and my nephew Josh that you met, Enzo, in Vegas when we all went.
Oh, yeah.
He went to school with Jesse, and then the bass player's name's Frank, and he went to school with Frank. And then I went to school with Carlos, the lead singer. I don't know the drum player too well. I just know him because of the other guys. But yes, Carlos is very good, guys, and that's his job. That's what he gets paid to do. So when it's him and his band, they are really good. They got some really good songs too. If you go check them out on Spotify, you'll get to hear the songs he wrote. He wrote that. I mean, he wrote that for us. We're his homies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Thank you, Carlos. You're awesome, buddy. I bet you didn't know you were ever going to be intermission on a show somewhere. Of mine, anyway. I bet he didn't know. All right, I think Jim's back, and we're all ready to go. That was good, dude. I like these breaks. We're going to do that all the time. All right, here we go, guys. Second half.
And the
Second quarter. We got another 20 minutes.
If the world doesn't know, that first time I was on with Sonny was one of the very first times I was on with anybody. I think I was in UFO Garage Guys first, but I did that in San Francisco. And I think we went 5 or 6 hours nonstop. And that made for a real. I mean, I think we could have gone longer, but I was losing my voice.
Yeah, we went for a long time. We did, I think, 3 shows that night.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I dropped a link in Spotify for DB in the Struggle, so you go check them out.
All right, you found that? Yeah, you guys check him out. That's you'll get to hear his whole band play. You can also look him up on YouTube. If you look up DB in the Struggle, you can find him on YouTube playing in bars and stuff like that. He's done interviews. There's a guy that interviews him. I've seen him. Yeah, there's stuff you can see on Carlos, and he's the nicest guy. he's the best guy, man. All my buddies are pretty nice like that, but he's a really good friend. I've known him almost my whole life.
Yeah, almost without exception, I got a joiner, but I feel so comfortable with you guys. I mean,
oh man,
there's only 1 or 2 jackasses that I have no tolerance for, and I just ignore them. But other than that, I feel at home. No one's better than anybody else. No one's
Well, having you, Jim, it's great.
And I really do. I mean, I'll be with a group for a year, maybe 2, and then I'm gone. And I fell into this by accident. The only reason I'm here today is because in March of 2019, there was a big MUFON thing in Phoenix, and I knew that Michael Schratt was going to be there. And Michael's like my kid. And I went there to see Michael. And all of a sudden, that was the beginning of it. And Michael showed up. My friend George Knapp was there. Doorbell was there. But when everybody was in on the showing of Lazar, I was in talking to Doc Skinner, and we just became immediate friends. Again, it's this community, and I really enjoy it. I really do. I feel comfortable. I feel welcome here.
Something I was going to ask you earlier, Jim, was, and this is a chance for you to plug again. Your most recent book about submarines. Did you happen to talk to in your research? Of course, you've done a book on the SR-71. You've done a book on Area 51. And you've been privy to a few inside stories. I was wondering if you had any kind of inside stories on maybe some USOs and things like that from your sub research.
Well, I mean, the only submarine event I heard of, it was everybody knows him by his working name, Science Bob. He was on the apparently, he's talked about it online, and he's talked about seeing it in print also. So I'm not giving away any secrets. But he said he was on the USS Hampton, which is a Los Angeles class improved, or C-88I, and they just referred to them as I-boats. And they were at between 600 and 700 feet. They were going at 28 knots. Whatever. I mean, they're cruising. They're not looking. They're not looking for anybody. They're just going from one point to the other. It's off the East Coast.
And 28 knots is pretty good speed. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, you don't want to stay behind that. Yeah. And something went by them in excess of speed of sound underwater at 600 to 700 feet deep in the Atlantic Ocean. They don't know what it was. All they know is something went flying by them, and it just, I don't know if there was a bow wake. Bob told me, face to face, I think when 2 years ago in Vegas. And He didn't say, "Hey, don't say anything." So I hope I'm not bleeding anybody's whatever. But being that it wasn't ours, it was somebody's or something else's. And I just love it that Sonny has my book right in the middle, my Skunk Works book.
Actually, hold up your submarine book while we're talking about this, and I'll drop the link again.
Yeah, I have to turn off the fuzzy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry.
Because I don't understand how that works. I don't have no background stuff because I don't have a green screen. I do have it. I just don't know how to use it.
It's when you hold things that don't have a human shape. Like right now, I'm holding a mug here that when I move it in and I move it out.
Oh, that thing is cool. I want that.
Jim's new book, Nautilus to Columbia.
It's 352 pages. I cover all 227 nuclear-powered submarines built for the United States Navy, starting with the USS Nautilus, SSN 571, all the way up to the USS Columbia, which is going to replace the Ohio boats, and that is going to be which christened. It will be SSBN 826. So, sort of a legacy to the Ohio boats, which were 726. So that is a big submarine. I got a friend of mine who's working on it, who's a retired master chief. And I was dumbfounded when he wasn't where he's supposed to be. So no, he retired all of a sudden. So did his wife, who's also a master chief. And he got hired. He got hired to work on certain aspects of the new Columbia class. So he wasn't able to give me anything, that hadn't been already published. But at least I got some stuff in there to cover. It's going to be an incredible sub. They're only going to build 14 of them.
Wow!
It's 14.
When is the first one going to be christened? When?
Exactly? 2030, 2029.
Wow, that far out? Wow.
Yeah, it's a brand new class. So they have it's going to be a direct drive electric motor versus steam turbine.
I can't believe they tell everybody now everything.
Oh no,
before they hide it. I mean, they might say they're working on something, but they would never show you pictures.
Yeah, but everybody on the docks has one of these.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but what was really surprised guys that I know that are in the submarine business. They said, "How in the hell did you get a camera on a Seawolf boat?" I says, "I asked."
Wow.
And it took me 7.5 years to finally get on the Connecticut. But I asked, and I shot every area, but nothing from the reactor bulkhead aft is off limits. I said, I had a TS clearance with all sorts of other stuff hanging on the back of it for 27 years. Can you just, without a camera, I'm not going to take notes. Could I go back or even come down, not go in the reactor, come down in the maneuvering room from the back hatch? And he said, nope. If you did, I'd have to shoot you. So you don't even stick your head in the tunnel going from the reactor bulkhead aft. You open up the hatch and it's bright white air. And you can look in there, but if I stuck my head even a little bit, they'd have to arrest me. And it's a broken arrow. It's a broken arrow. So you the incident on a nuclear weapon, that a lot of the fun in games disappears when you have one of those.
It's not funny when you drop that you start dropping that nomenclature, laughs are over.
Push it. I'd be pushing it. I'd be sticking my finger up to the line.
When I was
not touching
when I
it.
was-
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. Well, I can remember I was at Ellsworth. I was shooting B1s, and I'm stepping back, and all of a sudden I hear I stop. I look behind me, and my heel is about this far from the red line. That's the impenetrable wall you can't get through. So, and I've been hauled over red line because of a 2-star. I've been led face down in the snow for 45 minutes. And I knew the guys. They were combat defense force. There was the RV area of the 451st Missile Wing at Lowry Air Force Base. And nobody knew that in the southeast corner of Lowry Air Force Base were 72 10 megaton hydrogen bombs.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they had 18 missiles, Titan ones, around the area. And it was our communications center was responsible for all the communications. And but I had to go to the RV area for some. They had a signal, alarm signal was going off, so I had to go check the circuit. It's a 2-manned area. It's not my responsibility for this, for the 2 other guys to keep track of me. It was bitterly cold, nasty day, snow and a beat hell. And I'm going from one bunker halfway in between, halt, face down, and
then that guy came after you. Look out.
But the only advantage, that scared the hell out of me. But we
got another one.
Yeah, the only advantage of that the only advantage is once you had a broken arrow, you cannot go back into that area on that base ever again. So that was a real benefit. That place was just a real pain in the ass. So, and I've held a suitcase nuke. I had a tour of the.
Oh no!
And I have a T-shirt. Defense Nuclear Weapons School at Kirkland Air Force Base, part of Sandia. And a friend of mine was one of the instructors there. And there's 2 sides of it. There's a side that doesn't require a clearance. It's not available to the general public, but they have every nuclear weapon made. They have a full-size example. And he said, "You want to carry a nuclear weapon in a suitcase bomb?" I said, "Pick up that thing." And it's wood to be like what it would weigh if it was a real suitcase bomb. I mean, your arm is going to be about that much longer.
Yeah,
which is heavy. And then when I worked with Xerox, I had a 40-pound briefcase. And I'm surprised that one arm isn't longer than I think. Maybe I guess it is, Yeah,
so what's going on, guys?
Welcome, Jess. Welcome, Big Willie.
Guys, this is Jess from Jess Rogie Show. Everyone knows Jess.
Escape the simulation.
Heck yeah.
And this is the missing man.
Yeah, we've been listening. We just
we didn't
want to jump in and kind of ruin the conversation, so we kind of waited till it was closer.
Yeah,
to
we're getting towards the end. We got like 7 minutes left, 6 minutes left. So
Have you, Sonny? You're a hunter out there. I know you've tried some wild things, and Jim talking about that broken arrow that just made me think about this for some reason. Have you ever attempted to shoot an arrow with like a piece of TNT on it or anything, just for the fun of it out there?
What, the Dukes of
I have the
Hazzard?
General Lee tattooed on my forearm.
Did you do it? I feel like if anybody in this group's tried it, you've definitely tried to shoot explosives on an arrow.
It messes up the everywhere. Like, okay, if you take some dynamite to one of my arrows and pull the trigger, a dynamite's gonna be sitting at your feet, and the arrow's just gonna say.
Hey, when I was about 10, Alan Holmes and I stole some, I think, 4 sticks of dynamite from a construction site. Now,
Oh my God.
This is in Silicon Valley today. It was Cupertino, Sunnyvale area of the Bay Area, and it was a lot that it was empty, and it was a fairly high bank waterfront, a creek front, with Stevens Creek, and the creek hadn't been flowing very good, well that year. Our swimming pond was not very full, so we needed a way to dam it up. So we got some aluminum conduit, about 10-foot sections, and we just started digging holes under the base of about this 20-foot, 30-foot cliff. This is private property, mind you. Someone's going to build a house there someday. And we put, I think we only used 2 sticks of dynamite. I forget what happened to the other 2.
Only 2 sticks.
Still a lot.
And we detonated it, and this whole thing came down, and it was about 10 feet deep after it was finally filled all up. But that's something minor we did. And one of the things I was going to do at one time is write a book about my life, because also in the same time frame, we borrowed a train. They didn't find it for 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
This is a diesel locomotive with about 10 cars on it. So, and I was only 11. Hey, when I was about the same age, I got locked in the cockpit of the classified secret prototype F-104 Starfighter that was off at field at Ames Research Center. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. They didn't have the internet back then. They didn't have video games back then. You had to make
yourself.
do what you had, and I'm blessed with a very good imagination. We had a machine. Pretty much, I had a lathe, a drill press, and a milling machine, and a bunch of other stuff that my dad taught me from the time I was old enough to hold a screwdriver. So I could work on a lathe when I'm 6 years old. Or if I want to make something on a milling machine, I knew how to set it up and what I wanted to make and whatever. I've always been mechanically inclined. So, so we made all sorts of things to blow things up. I look back now and I said, I can't believe it's like the Lay's potato chip commercial. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. I can't believe I got away with what I got away with. I look at today's kids and they don't have a clue. I mean, you had to make your own fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing more fun than having 3 10-year-olds on a diesel locomotive going through Sunnyvale, California, where it was a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit for the trains, doing about 60, blasting the horn the whole way.
Oh my God.
And we
Not like it's a
kill
federal
ourselves.
offense or anything, you know?
And we did, and the statute of limitations are all gone, and I deny it if anybody put me up to it.
You still deny it.
And that was, and matter of fact, everybody who was involved with it are dead today because I was 10 years old.
I was to say.
I'm 78 now.
Hobo stick for.
Yeah.
That's your hobo stick?
Not mine. This is my mud stick is what I use it for. But the guys on the train use it. Those were their hobo sticks back when they had cabooses. That's what they called it.
Oh,
that's an actual one though from Santa Fe.
Yeah. So, no, I've done more than my fair share of fun, crazy ass things. A lot
Where
of
were
it
you at
was,
when the moon landing happened? Like when that was live streamed?
I was at the Pacific Science Center in downtown Seattle. They had a 1/4-inch working model of the vehicle assembly built a transporter and a Saturn V, and they had Apollo 8. It was right there, and it was incredible.
Wow.
My dad was at Cape Canaveral as an engineering work of some sort, when Apollo 13 blew up, midway to the moon. And my dad said, well, the thing was hit by lightning, but they didn't want to stand down because, we don't want to disappoint the public. So they almost killed 3 astronauts, and it was number 13. Oh, gee, how can that, nice, lucky that be? But it got me out of a ticket that they normally would have pounded my car. The morning that Apollo 13 landed, I was working for Xerox, Seattle. Yeah. I had a 1967 Camaro with about a 500 horsepower big block in it. Butternut yellow, black vinyl top, Anson Sprints all the way around. And I'm just getting on Interstate 5 at 85th Street. And the breaks into the radio, says, Apollo 13 is on the ground and they're safe. And I just floored it. And it was an automatic. And I think when I hit the bottom of the ramp, as I'm getting onto I-5, I was doing about 110, maybe faster than that. And then right behind me was a Washington State Patrol who pulled over and said, boy, you better have a good excuse. I said, did you hear? Apollo 13 guys made it back all in one piece. He said, that's the best excuse I've had today, keep it under 100. He let me go.
Keep it under escape velocity there.
Yeah.
I can vouch for stories like that. Me and Jim went out one night for a steak dinner, and it was foggy here where I live. So the roads are kind of wet. We were in his Corvette getting on the freeway, and he stabbed it, and the car went sideways a little bit, probably about 75, 80. And when it straightened back up and grabbed, he stabbed it again. And when we hit the freeway, we're doing about 120. 45. Oh, he can drive.
Well, I mean, I always at least 110 when I merge onto Interstate 10 going. I live in Tucson.
I left Vegas, Jess. Okay, I left Vegas like 30 minutes maybe before he did. And we drove home at like 105, 110, all the way home. He beat me to my house. He left that long after I did, and he had to stop for gas. And he still beat me to my house.
Holy
shit. That Corvette of mine, it's 430 horsepower. I have a 2010 Grand Sport Corvette. Mm-hmm. It's black.
Wow, nice.
I have 102,000 miles on it. My last road trip was this summer. I went to Graceland. I went to the Corvette Museum. I got, what's her name? Lynn Hurley. She told me she always wanted to sit inside the cockpit of a Blackbird.
Forgot about that.
And I told her, and I said, hey, I come through Dayton at least once a year. I know the operations director. He's a friend of mine. I'll arrange it. So I call her up. I said, I'm going to be there on, I think it was August 22nd. And I said, you be at the Air Force Museum at the main entrance at 8 o'clock. And her daughter showed up. They thought I was full of shit. They thought I couldn't pull it off. And it came right and sort of stunned. When there's a whole group of people, we go down to the main gallery. We go up into the airplane. I go in there first since it's my baby. I go in there, take a couple shots, and then Lynn goes in. I take a whole bunch of shots. Her daughter gets in, take a whole bunch of shots. Wow, and then she gets back in. I go down and I put up, so you can see most of the airplane. And she says, "I didn't believe you."
Aww.
I said, I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, and if I fail, I'll tell you, hey, I can't pull it off. But there we are.
Yep, there they are.
Oh, wow.
There's Lynn.
Yeah, that was, or she was, you couldn't slap the grin off her face. And then her husband, Dave, said,
Dave got
to go to work. No, he couldn't go.
He had to work that night.
He had to work. I think he was doing something on a crossover or the implementation of something, and he had to be there. I think he's an IT guy,
Oh,
but
yep,
I'm not
there's
sure.
the vet.
There's my car.
Well,
At the
didn't you?
National Corvette.
It was all
Right.
dropped down. Sonny had to fix the bumper. What happened the first time he was out? You were out there.
Oh, the spoiler. The spoiler, not the
spoiler.
bumper.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
this
right. It
is-
was the
Oh,
spoiler. That's right.
the front air dam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have about 10 screws into it now. I mean, it just.
They give you all
very-
about 4 inches of clearance to work on it down there, though.
Jim, see me
You
get
don't-
that
you don't
drill
even-
bit out.
you
I
don't
think I
even-
was the
I don't
first
think
one
you
to
have-
drill a hole in it. 'Cause when
Yeah.
I got the drill bit out, he was
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what are you doing?" I was like, "It's gotta be."
Hey, but this thing right here, on my trip, I went 5,260 miles in 3 weeks.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And for the entire 5,260 miles, my average speed for the entire trip was 67.4 miles an hour.
Didn't you go
And-
see Ben and Joe on that last trip too? So you were in Texas and went.
Missed it by only 2 and
Yeah, no, I stayed
3/4
with
mile
Ben.
an hour.
You know, I stayed with Joe. Ben was tied up somewhere,
Oh, okay.
and I get
Yeah.
I get
You were all over the
24.5
place.
miles to the gallon.
Let me ask you, Jim. So if I hopped in the Corvette there with you, we're on a road trip. What is Jim playing in there? Is it music? Is it a radio show?
what
Is it
are the road
podcasts?
Good ass classic rock.
I have my last car before this was a 2006 GTO with the LS3 motor. The one before that was a 96 Impala SS with added about 500 horsepower, black. I've had this up to 145. It will do 185 on the showroom floor. Not with me in it.
He's
He'll
asking.
do
He was asking you what kind of music you listen to in there, Jim.
I love 50s rock and roll. I love funk. I like disco, and I love country and western.
Oh,
Wow, that's very
I
diverse.
mean,
Do you stream it on an app, or do you still have like a specific setup that you listen to with it?
No, I have this one has a CD player, so I have my oldies but goodies on there.
I
But
was
I'll
going,
use-
say cassette.
I was wondering. I wanted to, but I didn't want to make any assumptions. But CDs, I could give somebody. I mean, CDs still sound pretty good, so you can.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah. I mean, the first things that you could have on a car when I was growing up were 45 RPM record players, and they you stacked them up this way, and they dropped down, and you had to watch out for
In the
bumps.
car. That was the thing. Is like how do it's
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
full of pennies
And
when
then-
you're on the head of that thing.
And then you had reverberators to give you that deep, rich, Dolby sound that eventually arrived. I mean, I've had so many cars in my life. All of them, most of them turned out to be classics. All my Camaros were. And I had a 40 Ford two-door deluxe. I worked on them with a buddy of mine. I had a 49 Ford Woody. I'd go to Santa Cruz, cut school, go to Santa Cruz. In 1983, it was my 20th high school reunion, and I was a troublemaker. I was that Goodall kid. My brother got thrown out of class because I said I had one Goodall, I'll never have another one. And my brother's 180 degrees different than me. And I decided I'm going to see if the first officer ever to arrest me, if he was still around. So I went to Los Angeles Police Department and asked. I can't remember his full name right now. Sorry, and I don't want. He's still alive, so I don't want to use it. And he said, Sergeant, I went to the police station. I was 3-piece suit, and this is '83. And he said, "Well, Sergeant Lassiter." That's what it was. So Sergeant Lassiter is, off. He just went home. He's here tomorrow morning at about 7:30. I said, Said, he'll be around by 8:30. He said, oh, yeah. So I get there at 8:30. Yeah, I'm selling high-tech equipment to disk drive manufacturers and whatever. So I'm in the suit, and I go up and they said, Sergeant Lassiter here. And I said, just a minute, I'll get him. And Willie was his first name. Your name reminded me of Big Willie. That's why it jogged my memory. So he comes in, he looks at me. He has a whole handful. He says, drops it on the floor. He says, Goodall, is that you? I said, yep. He said, how come all you juvenile delinquent types always show up suit 20 years later?
Bad penny.
I said, I'm here for my class reunion. And it was, and I was a nerd. I either got A's or F's. I mean, I got a one report card for 5 different classes. I had 2 A pluses, incomplete, and an F minus.
Oh shit!
You get an F
The minus part.
Where's the lowest.
The F minus was the F minus part was attitude. I had a real bad attitude. Not an F attitude. I'm not easily intimidated.
So Jim, your Corvette's a 2010, right?
Right.
I'm sure you've got a couple of miles on it. Are you considering maybe upgrading to something different? What would you go to?
Nope.
It's going to just refurbish everything.
That car
time
runs
I look
so
at
good.
Every time I look at that car, I just smile. For some reason, I mean, it burns no oil. I get 24 miles to the gallon. If and when
Really good.
the motor says, hell with you, I'm done. I'm gonna put a bigger small block in there. I'm gonna have it built. So I'll go from 430 horse. I'll go up to about 600 horse. What I'll do is,
that's nice though.
Doug Rippey Motors in Dassel, Minnesota. They're the one who souped up my Impala SS, and they love LS motors. Mm-hmm. They actually Tim Allen had an Impala, a '96 Impala SS, mm-hmm. and he had to bring it back to Doug Rippey Motors and had them detune it because it was just too scary.
Hey, the motor he has in this car, guys, when you start it and you're sitting in it, for one, you're sitting on the ground. That's why I fixed the spoiler. The spoiler, no joke, it's about an inch off the ground. When it's bolted up and it's all like it's supposed to be, that's how low his car is. That's how low the spoiler is. But when you start that car, Willie, you feel the cam. That car's shaking like a race car. Like you're sitting in a NASCAR is what it feels like.
There's Joe.
There's Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Look, he's going, I didn't die.
I survived.
Yeah. On a few spots, I mean, I hit 110 on a surface street. His eyes got real big. So I love this car. I absolutely love it. I love driving it. Every time I walk out to a parking lot or walk out to the garage, I just smile.
I don't blame you. It's a beautiful ride.
That's all that matters too.
Yeah, and that's why the Grand Sport came out, because people who wanted the Z06 but had rotten knees like I have needed an automatic. So they made the automatic version of the Grand Sport. Now on the 2023 vets, they're all automatics. They're 10-speed automatics. No one has a choice anymore.
Either.
How would Enzo hold up in there with Enzo's height? Like, how would he fit? You think that'd be
probably clawing my way up?
Yeah,
Get out of here.
No, Enzo, you have plenty of room in there.
Hey, I
so?
started.
Yeah, I think so.
When I bought this car, I weighed 270. Today I drive it around at 205.
Oh heck yeah!
So actually, I've gotten smaller as I've the car, and it's a comfortable car for a long ride.
It's because you're running from
And
all
I-
them chicks. You're losing weight driving that car.
Yeah, I mean, and how many
It's the
wives?
excessive speed is just ripping the fat off of you as you're flying.
Oh,
down the
absolutely.
street.
You know that you're going warp 1, or warp 2. Yeah. So no, I live a blessed life. I'm not supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to make it past January 28th, 1986, and I did. I'm healthy. I drive a Corvette. I get to go and play with my friends. I don't have some. Where are you going today? You going those stinking guys? Those guys are no. Oh Jesus Christ! And there's my toy. And I helped take apart this P-51 right behind me.
Did you?
We dismantled it.
You taking parts off of that to put on your Corvette?
No, moved it to the St. James Theater, put it back on. This is a 120-year-old theater. Rebuilt it back on the stage. Took 5 hours to put it together. And it was Gathering of Eagles event. And we had three Doolittle Raiders were there. We had a Luftwaffe ace. It was a Russian ace. And there's my Econo car, my Econo car. 24 miles to the gallon, and it looks good.
Yes, it does. I don't know. In this picture,
Hey,
we've got
Enzo.
your Corvette. We've got a P-51. We got an F-16. I see an F-4 hiding back there, and there's a UH-1. My money's still on Jim to go faster than all of them.
Wait, Enzo.
Yeah.
What's the one right behind the P-52?
The
What's that
Um,
one? P-51.
back here?
excuse me. Yeah. What can we see it?
I see it.
Oh,
I know what that is.
how good is the eyes?
That's the SR-71.
It's a Northrop airplane.
Well, I tell you what, Sonny, I got to hit the hay. I was only supposed to get on for 5 minutes earlier myself, so
We're
I
gonna shut it
apologize,
down here in a
guys.
little bit.
You're okay. I'm
Come
still be
on by.
listening.
Come on board, and I know you just want to abandon us.
Who's that? Al Gore?
Cool.
Al Gore abandoned you guys? Listen, he abandoned all of us. He invented the internet. He solved global warming or something like that. And then I don't know what else he did after that. And that's all I read about in history books. So it's Al Gore.
Jim's stewing on something very nice I'm sure to say about Al Gore right now.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'm going to let you guys go. Jim, it's always good to see you. Enzo, it's good to see you. Sonny.
Benny.
I know I was telling Jess, I normally work 18 hours on Fridays
I know.
anymore.
I know.
As soon as I get out of work, I go straight to
You
the
need-
bouncing gig, and then I'm there with all the drunk
man.
people.
That's true.
Well,
Yeah.
let me let you feel like you're at home here.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
yeah.
Yeah, this is where all the misfits hang out. Yeah.
Well, at least these misfits are just talking. Some of the misfits we're hanging out with are throwing drinks and trying to fight people. So
At least nobody's trying to fight here, right?
Yeah. Most of the drunk people usually try to hug out. We did have one guy he hit one of our security guards 2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
damn.
He did hit him, but they keep it in line pretty well. And they can't, when you're drunk and you're swinging, you're not very accurate usually. But, all right, my friends, I will get out of here. Jojo, you go get some sleep. I see you watching. I'll probably be in the chat, guys.
Peace out
yeah.
later, Willie. Thanks
Bye,
for
Peace,
coming
love, and
on,
taco
man.
grease, my friends.
Take care. Good seeing you.
And Jess, you had a good show tonight with Willie on there. That was
Thank
fun.
you. That was very impromptu. I was only planning on to be there about half an hour, and then me and Willie were chatting a little bit and watching you guys, and he's like, "Well, let's hop in there a little
You're
bit."
watching us?
Yeah, we're watching you.
Well,
Inception.
I know.
yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we could pop on.
I
Yeah,
never
like
never
you
did.
guys
I
are.
never did get into my Belize stuff.
I know. We kept diving in, and then something would steal
Diving
us
out.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all right. We were supposed to be on the B21 anyway.
Yeah, and we did.
We kept it
I wanted to hear the
mostly
police stories myself.
It's just it's hard for me not to ask questions about the subs. That's I like the submarines.
No, this is that can only mean, Jim, that you have to come back.
Yep, you got to come back again.
Damn, really? Yeah, I'll twist my arm.
And then if you come sometime in December, I'll maybe we'll just do a show then too if you got time.
A live show.
Ooh.
Well, that would be fun. That would be fun. And a lot of brain cells will have already been sacrificed by the time it starts. So, well,
yeah.
What time is it?
Give me a week's notice and I'll be ready.
All right. Yeah, no, I'll as soon as my friend Lee tells me when she needs my help. She's a dear friend of mine from Minnesota. She has a house up in Phoenix that she's going to sell. It's a $900,000 to $1 million house, and it's too congested up there. It doesn't compete with this end either. But she's as down to earth, and she's my buddy. She has been for decades. But she wants to have a place down here in Tucson area, probably Sabino Canyon. $1 million, $2 million, $4 million. I mean, she says, I got most of this from my dad, and through her business venture, but most of the money, says, I'll never be able to spend it all. So she says, you go somewhere, you and Rosemary and whatever, anywhere we go, I pay everything.
Oh.
So, and she's like everybody's fairy godmother. So, but she's just very, very dear friend of mine. And then as soon as I know that, and then I will make my trek up Interstate 15, and then more than likely maybe be at the B2 production facility. If not, I'll be in, either the first night or the second night I'm in the area, I'll be in Fresno, one of the 2 nights. But I'll let you know at least a week ahead of time.
Yeah, man.
Because it's always fun. It's always fun. And I love the breakfasts. I mean, it's one of the best breakfast places.
I know.
Right down the
That's a
street.
good restaurant.
No, Sonny, knowing what I know about Jim, there's very pretty waitresses at the restaurant.
Yeah, and they all like Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought so.
You have to be nice to them.
Do they remember him when we come back in? That's
Oh, he's a good tipper then.
I was in Meridian, Idaho, Memorial Day. No, about 6 months earlier of last year, and we went to a Texas Roadhouse or Steakhouse, I think it is, and the place was just jammed, and I really wanted a steak. And we got, our waitress came up with another older waitress, and said, "This is," I can't remember her name. Says she just got out of training a week ago, so be nice, be kind to her. The service is, and I've eaten all over the planet. The service was the best service I've ever had. My bill was $30. I left a $30 tip. Bruce is my buddy from Seattle who now lives in Star, Idaho. His was about $30, and he left a $30 tip. I called her shift leader over and told her what an incredible job. I said, as a retired businessman and everything else, do not lose someone like this.
Yes.
They're worth their weight in diamonds. I sent a letter to the regional office. I sent a letter to the zone office, and I sent a letter to headquarters saying what an incredible experience. And if I'll drive 100 miles out of my way to go eat at that steakhouse. I know she's not there. I mean, because it's been a year or 2 years, and I would hope that they would nurture her and bring her up the chain of command. But I love what they do. I really do. People say, well, what do you, if you could do anything, what would it be? I said, drive a Corvette, go on road trips, go to Hawaii now and then, and let's go to Central America, look for Mayan treasures.
Sure, look for ancient ruins. Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
Write a few books in between.
A couple of books.
yeah. So, and if you said back in the 70s, which is a long time ago, but I'm older than everybody here, that I would be a published author, I'd laughed in your face. I hated term papers in school. I hated writing. I didn't want anything to do with it. And 29 books. Now I got to start my 30th.
Wow, 29.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've read 29 books, much less written.
Well, I read. I don't read books. The last 3 books I read, I was on the Bonhammer Shard, the one that burnt, caught fire in San Diego Harbor. I escorted an airplane, an A3 Sky Warrior from North Island. They brought over in barge, put it on the Bonhammer Shard, and I escorted it all the way up to Pearl Harbor. And that was a fun trip. Never knew that the ocean was that dark of a blue. When you're in 17,000, when you're in 17,000 feet of water, and there's stuff that can eat you down there.
Eat you, spit you out, and eat you again. It was There's just monsters down there into that level. It's just things you can't even imagine.
Was it fade to black or what?
I know. We've got into night ops here.
Oh, yeah. When you
must mean there's a policeman nearby.
No cops. Why you gotta bring up cops, white boy?
Let there be light. Yeah.
Yep. Motion sensor went off on me. Dogs are cold. They're laid down. I got the heater going, so they're warming up a little. I thought one of them bumped my leg earlier. There's a stupid little mouse in here, and he keeps getting closer and closer to me all day. He's been trying to come over here to the table. I mean, yelling at him, he takes off running, but he won't go out of the shop. He keeps running over here behind me. So I thought the dog was bumping me, and I looked down, and the little bastard's on my pant leg.
Crawling up your leg?
Well, he wasn't crawling up it, but he got on my pant leg so he could be in front of the heater, and I thought it was the dog bumping me, and I looked down, you little fucker. And before I could hit him, he ran down my leg again and took off. I was like, you little son of a bitch.
Just put some cheese out in that fifth wheel that nobody uses.
I'm feeding them too. Like when I put the dog food out, that's the bad thing. If I see more than one in here, I'll deal with his little ass as long as he don't chew on nothing. But
your dogs don't chase him down?
Rocky will if I tell him to. Yes, he will. He don't come around. When Rocky's out here, Rocky will kill it. But I'll put a snake in here though, a gopher snake, and then they'll clear all these mice out of here.
And I was the curator in Hawaii. Hangar 79 is one of the original hangars there in Pearl Harbor. That still has bullet holes in the glass. A lot of the reinforced glass. They never replaced. If it was just a hole, they just left it. And initially, when I first got there, we had a problem. We were just starting to occupy that hangar. And it's about 110,000 square foot. But
we're going to end in 2 and 2. We got 2 more minutes.
And all of a sudden, we were just seeing the carcasses of mice and other small rodents. We didn't see any damage. It turned out there's a family of they're like barn owls, or there's a Hawaiian name for them or whatever. But it's been fun. You let me know when you want me back on. Enzo, it's great seeing you. And you all have a Merry Christmas. And there's a decent chance that Sonny, you'll see me before Christmas. But
Okay,
I'll
good,
give you
man.
at least a week's head, heads up.
You're gonna have Jim
And we'll
Goodall coming down your chimney.
That's right.
Yeah, one time, I weighed 375. All I needed was a white beard. Everything else fit the bill. So, all right, gentlemen. Ladies,
Okay, guys.
Adios. It's
Night.
always fun. 2.5 hours. Poof, gone.
All right, Jim. Thanks, man. Thanks for being on here.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was fantastic.
Oh, I love it. I love
Awesome.
it. So, you guys take
Always.
care and have a Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you between now and then, but I will talk to you, Sonny, before then. And
I'll see you soon.
He'll be
and
talking
so-
to us.
Yeah.
He'll be talking to us.
All right.
Okay, Jim. Thank you again,
Take care.
buddy. I'll see you
Good
soon.
enough. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. And then there was one. What you doing, Jess? What you gonna have coming up? Anything?
I'm just
Next show?
tired, man. Next show, I got like a full week next week. Then the next week after
Ooh.
that is booking up. And then I'll probably take a week off between Christmas and New Year and then come back to it.
Right on.
I was like hoping the year was going to end slowly, but people, I've been talking to people and getting them booked. So it's like fucking crazy, man.
I have a few people that they must watch the show. We don't even see them in chat too much, but they've asked about being on the show, but they're really scared to be on the show. They not scared of what's going to happen to them. They don't want to tell their story, because some people are going to make fun of you.
It's true. It's
And
true.
I try to tell them that we don't let that happen here.
Yeah. As long
Somebody
as
was
you-
to make fun of you while you're doing it, especially like live. And then I said, and also I've even offered them like opportunities. Like right now, I'm going to end the show. Okay, so they have opportunities to come in just when we're not live. Just totally
and
not
chat.
live, just maybe me and Enzo and that person or something, and see if they're comfortable. Like
a little pre-interview type of deal.
yeah, exactly, and it helps them that way too. Not to
Yeah,
be so
for
scared.
sure.
It's hard to reach out to somebody just because you watch us on here. Don't mean you know us.
No,
So when you
no.
talk to us, it's a little different. Like, okay, I know him and they're fun to watch, but now I have to trust him a little bit. So it's hard to trust somebody you've never met face to face.
No, it's true.
It's hard.
It's true.
It's hard.
I try to make it as easy as I can, though.
But you're friendly, so it shouldn't be too scary for them,
Well, guys, this was fun. I had a good time.
It
this show.
was. It was a fantastic
Yeah.
time.
Great
30
show.
minutes longer than I thought we would go.
Yeah.
Enzo, thank you too for being here. It's always awesome.
Quite all right. Thank you
Enzo,
for
Especially
having
the-
me.
with you
Christmas
having the
tree.
key, that made it a lot easier for me. Because Ren wasn't going to be able to make it, and we'll have to have Jim back when Ren's feeling better. She's not feeling good right now,
Aw, that's too
guys.
bad.
Ren,
Yeah, she's got her string of bad luck hitting her right now.
yeah. I was gonna drop her the link, but when I talked to her earlier, she told me she still wasn't feeling good.
Mm.
Not gonna make it.
So yeah, I just said, okay, I don't want to make her come on here for being sick. That would suck.
It sucks to do a show when you're sick. Like
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Oh, me? Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I'm a big baby when I'm sick. But okay, guys.
I get it. I get
what
it.
should I close the show out with? Enzo, should I use one of ours or Chad's, or
Actually,
because we didn't do a spooky show?
I-
I have a new one that oh man.
You got a new one? Something new?
I do. I'm looking for it, but it's not. I didn't download it on here. Damn it. Anthony made it for me too, man, and I can't.
Oh, man.
Go with the old standards then. We started off with the Chad Smith, so
I know. Yep. Yeah, or I can end it with I could have Carlos take us out. We can
There,
play
there.
Carlos' song again.
Carlos is really good. I didn't know if you wanted to wait that long because it is a few minutes, but I did enjoy
that's
that.
a
It was
while.
really good.
Okay, let me just we're gonna go out with Chats, guys. That's what we're gonna do. We're all gonna stay up here and wave bye.
We miss you, Chad.
Yeah, man. They might be listening still, you never know. But all right, guys. Peace out. Thank you again.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.